How you guys doing? HumbleZeus here, and welcome back to another video where today we're going to be answering the question, Overwatch or Battleborn, and which one should you buy? So this is a really interesting question to me because I like both of these games. I'm interested in both of these games, and a lot of my friends are interested in both of these games. So how do you go about choosing one or the other? Which one do you buy first? Which one do you kind of put on the back burner for a little bit? Or do you shut out the money and buy them both? You know, what is the question here? How do you answer it? So I'm going to be giving you guys the points in favor of both of these games and why I think, maybe you should get one over the other. But at the end of the day, these are all my opinions, and the choice personally comes down to you and which one do you think is worth your money. So jumping into the games, we're going to start off with Battleborn because I have the most experience with it right now. Battleborn has a lot going for it, starting off with its campaign, a mode that Overwatch currently does not possess and I don't think will ever possess. There's a lot there in terms of replay value. The missions, from what I've seen, aren't going to exactly grip you. They're not going to hold your attention. They're not the main focus of the game. The main focus is the multiplayer. But there's a lot of value to be had in the campaign regardless. Even though the story isn't super coherent, maybe that's just because we only had access to 2 of the missions, and I don't even know what order you were supposed to play them in. There was still a lot there, and the fact that there's so many characters to play as means you can go through this campaign multiple times and have a different experience, which means there's a lot of replay value to be had here. Now, the missions themselves are not short missions, even though there's only 14, I think. These missions can go upwards to 30-40 minutes, and hell, if you're playing on the advanced setting, it might even go longer depending on what we see in the future with these missions. So these are not short, oh, I'm gonna finish this in a day missions. These are I'm going to be here for a week trying to get this stuff done. That's not even including trying to max out all the characters, get all the skins, get all the taunts. There's a lot to be had just playing the campaign, loot to be gained playing the campaign. So there's a lot of value just in there, even though it's not the focus of the game. Now, moving into the actual characters themselves, they're all very unique. Similar to Overwatch, you have a cool cast of characters, all very wacky, all with their own different values and lore that you can unlock through playing. And for someone like me who really is interested in the lore, you now have a reason to go out and play all these characters, with more coming very soon. I believe free DLC with more characters. That's awesome. That's just a lot to do, and each of them plays differently. No 2 characters play the same way. No 2 people are going to build their character the same way if they choose not to. You can unlock more skills for all the characters, so you can now, instead of having maybe 2 paths, you can make a 3rd path for yourself. There's a lot of value to be had in the characters, and they're all very fun, very creative, and they're all designed very well, similar to Overwatch. So there's a good value there for people who like aesthetically pleasing characters. Even though it is a first-person game, so it's not really a big deal, that is something you might want to consider. Now, the multiplayer aspect, which I think is mainly the focus of the game, is MOBA style. And a lot of my friends, when they heard that, were like, oh god, so you basically League of Legends, get that out of here, I don't want to play it. And no, it only shares the MOBA title. That's about all it has in common. The game is very, very fun, even for people who don't like MOBAs. I don't like League of Legends, I really don't. In fact, I will link you to a video where I play League of Legends, and you can literally just hear me bitch and complain about it. But the main point is that it's different and it's a lot of fun, and even people who don't like MOBAs, there's a lot to do that you don't even know that you're playing a MOBA. You can end up going entirely just slaying in PvP if you want to. Yes, there's no team deathmatch, but you can decide, you know what, I'm going to help my team by just killing everybody, and you can do that if you want to. Or you can be like, I'm going to help my team by building a whole bunch of turrets, or getting minions, or guiding the minions to their location. There's a lot to do, and even though I'm not a fan of MOBAs, I had a lot of fun playing. So the multiplayer, while not necessarily revolutionary, has a lot to offer. And again, going by that character customization, you can build your character however you want, and that will give you some distinct advantages over your opponents, who will then have to kind of work to match you. Of course, this could lead to some unbalance, which I'm going to say they need to address before they go too far into the multiplayer. They need to make sure that all the characters are relatively balanced and all their skills are balanced out. Though there are going to be some OP builds, hopefully they'll try to keep everything manageable, which I like. And also the fact that people can't keep selecting the same class. You're not going to run into 30... Well, not... Okay, I'm sorry. That was a bit too much a number. 4 or 5 Arendis. You're only going to run into 1, and that's it. And that's good. It means that people can't just, spam the same class. So that's kind of my points in favor and somewhat against Battleborn, because there's a lot there's a lot of content there. Some people aren't going to like the style that it goes for, and I understand that, and that's a big thing you want to consider when buying a game. Now, moving into the Overwatch section of this review, Overwatch has a lot going for it as well. For one, having just watched the gameplay, it's a ton of fun. Having watched my friends play it, gone over to their house and seen them play it, and played a little bit of it myself, I had a great time playing it. It's a fun PvP experience, but that's all it is. It's all that's there. There's not going to be a campaign for you guys to go through. There's not really a place to, you know, kind of sit down and uncover lore. There's not a lot of that there. It's really just get in, shoot people, have a good time. And that's going to appeal to people. That's going to appeal to people like CSGO, people who enjoy those kinds of games. They're just going to love it. They're going to be like, you know what, I just want to come in, shoot people, have a good time with my mates, and that's it. And that's what you're looking for. Awesome. You know, and especially if you're getting it for PC, then you don't have to pay $40 for a cool experience. That being said, some people want a little bit more, and I think that the one point that you can argue against Overwatch in terms of money-wise is it worth it? Especially for people who are going to be paying $60 on console. Is this a $60 game? Multiplayer-only games have not tended to live up to their $60 price tag because they need a bit more added there. Not to say the game isn't fun, you can't have fun with the game, but you have to keep in mind that that's the only part of the game you're going to deal with. And so let's say something gets broken, a character is broken. What are you going to do? You know, the entire thing is multiplayer, and if everyone's playing the same character trying to use the OP character, you now have to deal with that. Some people are okay with that, they like the challenge. Other people are like, I don't want to deal with everybody using the same character and everyone's broken and I don't know how to fight them. That is a real, you know, reality of that game. That could easily happen. If they tweak something wrong and a character gains way too much damage or way too much health or their ability, you know, is awesome and they don't nerf it, you're going to be stuck dealing with that. And I'm sure they'll try to balance out the characters as much as possible, but that is a real case that people have to worry about. Am I going to have to deal with, you know, a broken game? And maybe not. We'll have to wait and see when the open beta drops and when the full game drops, how everything feels. So those are kind of my points. The reason I didn't talk too much about Overwatch and its main points is because there's not a lot to say. The art style, you know it. It's similar to Battleborn, but it has a more realistic tone. The characters are a bit more like fleshed out and detailed. But there's not a lot to say for it because it's a very kind of linear experience. I do think it's a fun game. I do think you're going to like it. I think there's a lot there for people who like PvP and maybe even want to go into esports with it. I'm sure it'll become some kind of esport. So I think there's a lot of value there as well. Now, when it comes to buying, which one do you give your money to? If we're going for pure value for money, then I would say go for Battleborn. I know for some people it might be like, I'm not really sure I like this kind of style of gameplay. Well, you know, if you didn't play the beta, then I'd say go to a friend's house who's buying it. You know, try it out for yourself, play a few matches with them, see if you like it. Or, you know, maybe just take out a limb and be like, maybe I'll try. Go play it, return if you don't like it, and get Overwatch. If you're someone who's like, I really like PvP, I like just going into an online game with my friends and having a good time and, you know, just trying to beat the enemy team, then Overwatch is your game. Yes, Battleborn has that, but I feel like it's more prevalent in Overwatch if that's what you're looking for. So that's kind of my thoughts on both. I really can't tell you where to spend your money. I think that they're both very different games. I don't feel like they should be compared at all, to be honest. But I understand why people are doing it and why people want to know which game should they buy. And it really comes down to what you're looking for in a game. In terms of content, I think Battleborn has it. In terms of, you know, multiplayer fun, I think you can make a really strong case for Overwatch taking it. So it really depends on you, what you want to do. I hope to see you on both games. I'm going to be leaving my Steam and PS4 on it because those are the titles I'm going to be buying it for. I'm going to be buying Battleborn for PS4 and Overwatch for PC, so you guys can play with me if you want to. Just let me know. Be like, hey, I saw the video. I'd like to play with you. I'll add you. We'll have a fun time with that. But I hope you guys enjoy both games. If you're going to buy both games, let me know. If you're going to buy one, which one are you buying and what are you buying it for? Let me know. And I'll see you guys in another video very soon, hopefully. Zeus out.